Well, Alex, here in St Andrews tonight, Foreign Office officials are mingling with guests in the hall behind me here, anxious to speak with former President Khatami at a time when senior American officials are beginning to talk openly of the need for a dialogue with Iran over security in Iraq. Khatami's visit to Britain is being seen as an opening of some considerable importance. St Andrews is, at first sight, an improbable setting for such an event, but on the heels of the Northern Ireland talks here, Khatami's visit is about more than pleasantries. Somewhere in the day's proceedings, there are more than half a dozen Foreign Office officials hoping to talk directly with the former president. Ostensibly cutting a ribbon to inaugurate the university's Iranian library, he's been to the United States and now here, the highest-ranking Iranian to visit either country since Iran's revolution in 1979. Iraq is the big driver. Rumours that George Bush would be advised by a key inquiry to involve Iran in resolving the violence. Can Khatami provide the opening?
He represents a strand which is interested in engagement, interested in dialogue, interested in the Western world and in finding a more peaceable and diplomatic solution to the current crisis that we face.
Khatami was for 8 years hailed as a reformist president of Iran, but the term is relative. Iran's human rights abuses continued under his tenure.
I have to say Amnesty International didn't see much in the way of improvements during that period under President Khatami. We were constantly sending reports and urging investigations into particular cases of concern directly to the government in Tehran. We wanted to go and investigate ourselves. Of course, we weren't allowed to. We didn't see much of in the way of improvement, no.
On the nuclear front, Khatami pursued nuclear power in circumstances where there was still something of a dialogue with the outside world. But the arrival of his successor, President Ahmadinejad, has seen dialogue replaced by rhetoric. Suddenly the spectre of a nuclear bomb has become more alarming. The rhetoric out of Tehran has more than chimed with the axis of evil charges flying out of Washington. Relations have hardly been worse at the precise moment when the Iraq and nuclear crises require engagement. Well, in an exclusive interview with Dr. Khatami, I asked him what advice he would give the United States over resolving Iraq.
I am of the opinion that the United States should pull out of Iraq as soon as possible, and an international force, including Islamic and neighboring countries of Iraq, and as well as some Western countries maybe, there isn't any problem. So try to just reinforce the central government of the Iraq.
Is Iran, do you think, prepared to talk direct to America about what to do next?
Up to the moment that the Americans are thinking that they are the one and only in charge of the Iraqi problem, normally no other country would get engaged in the Iraqi affairs, but the peace and stability and development of Iraq, particularly for the countries of the region, is of great importance. And so through an international activity under the auspicious supervision of the United Nations, I think the ground is prepared to do so.
Would it help if some senior Western figure came to Tehran, somebody like Tony Blair, for example, or Condoleezza Rice, and tried to engage at the top level to try to resolve issues in Iraq?
Regarding Iraq, we have discussed the matter previously, and the two sides, United States and Islamic Republic of Iran, agreed to talk upon the issue, but as always, the United States didn't show any interest, though they were showing that they are quite interested at the beginning. But I'm strongly of the opinion that with the dialogue and negotiation with regard to Iraqi issue, and considering the needs and requirements of the people of Iraq, we may solve the problem there.
Is Iran, do you think, supplying weapons over the border to Shia people in southern Iraq?
I, as the one who has served 8 years as president in office, I'm strongly of the opinion that Iran doesn't have any military in Iraq, any kind. Some maybe part of Iraq is having violence, but we have very good relationship with the government of Iraq, and the security of Iraq is quite important to us, because anything that would contribute to security in Iraq or add to the violence among the Shiites and Sunnis and instability, the first one that would lose would be Iran, of course.
Your successor, President Ahmadinejad, has spoken of destroying Israel, and indeed has supported Hezbollah. And the concern is that maybe eventually, if Iran did have a nuclear weapon, it would be used to destroy another country.
First of all, I should state that with regard to the strategy of Iran, there is no aim and goal to achieve any sort of nuclear weapons, and there wouldn't be any deviation in this program as it is stated by IAEA, but there is the problem of having nuclear weapons in our region. Israel is particularly at least 250 warheads, or 400 sometimes they say, and India and Pakistan around us, they are atomic countries as well, and Iran does not have a nuclear weapon and does not intend to have such.
Do you fear attack from the United States on Iran?
Of course, we have to be afraid of the United States, because the new cons policies are quite violent ones, and they believe that with force and violence they can solve the problems, and they have done lots of dangerous things so far, and to be afraid of the United States is a natural thing and it would be wise. But I don't think that the United States would do such a thing, a military assault or attack on Iran.
Former President of Iran, Dr. Khatami, talking to me earlier here in St. Andrews, his account of Iran's nuclear developments in stark contrast from those of Foreign Office Minister Kim Howells. Talking in Parliament this afternoon, he said Iran is, quote, hell-bent on building a nuclear bomb. Now back to Alex Thompson in London.
Thank you, John. And on tomorrow's Channel 4 News, an exclusive film from Somalia with new evidence of locally produced jihad.